If you have an encyclopedic knowledge of information that will do you no good in regular life, we will be asking trivia questions throughout today, so be prepared. We'll be asking those during some of our breaks here today.
Matco Tools providing sponsorship for the mini stocks. Matco Tools mini.
Grandma Betty's. It's right out in front of the grandstand area, and just some terrific products that they carry.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, we're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag still there. Oh, say does that star spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
do everything they can. They bounce around, you see sparks. We are ready to get it started, Mark.
The Bob Valenti Automall pace car is off the track. What remains are 28 drivers in mini stock automobiles coming back out towards the start-finish line. The green flag is flying. We're underway with Town Fair Tires finale and our mini stock madness. Here they are making their way into turn number 2. T.H.E jumping out into the lead, coming down the back straightaway. Pulls away from the rest of the field for the moment as we are shuffling the deck very early in this one. We have some cars going a little bit sideways down there, scrambling for cover as Rich Brooks going around down the front straightaway. It looks like everybody's going to get by on the inside. Outside's a different story, Matt.
Dana Powell in the 0-1 made contact, but look at Rich Brooks. He just bounces back and aims his car toward the paddock area, but a nasty collision on our opening lap. And the loser of that scenario is Rich Brooks in car number 65. But
that's a red line painted on the Armco barrier out there. T.H.E can set the pace for the restart on this one, and he certainly has. He is right next door to the number 8 of Bill Leonard out there from Wood River Junction. In a battle, it looks like Leonard jumping out in the front, coming down the back straightaway. Seems they have some great power in that number 8 automobile as they make their way into turn number 4. Once again, we have some cars doing a pirouette out there, a tire flying around as yet another caution flag.
another three-wide situation in turn 4. That time, Jay LaPlante was the loser of that situation. And let's see how far that tire can go. Headed, maybe, well, steers clear of the mud puddle.
And going in for the reception.
Kick save and a beauty.
And kicks it right into the path of an oncoming vehicle, which is worth about $24,000. Of course, how appropriate for a tire to come in front of the grandstand. 49 laps showing on the scoreboard as the drivers of the mini stock division coming back towards the restart line. Great jump by T.H.E, but Bill Leonard's not going to let him get away as they're side by side, door handle to door handle, going through turns number 1 and 2. It's a drag race down the back straightaway. It looks like Leonard from Wood River Junction, Rhode Island, with the advantage going into the turn. Let's see if we can negotiate turns 3 and 4 this time. Looks like that outside groove's the place to be, man.
And it's kind of nobody goes 3 wide, and Leonard has jumped out to a pretty good lead after the opening 2 laps.
I'll tell you one thing, they weren't listening to you up there in turn number 2 because Jeff Miller put himself in a 3-wide situation just going through the turn last time around. And these guys are hungry to take home a victory here at the Matco Mini Stock Madness.
Nobody's hungrier than Bill Leonard as he has carved open a good lead over the combination of Stu Savardi and Dan Darstadt. Dave Trudeau looking very sturdy in the early going. He's already maneuvered his way into 4th place.
Making a charge to the front, as you say, Dan Darnstead on the inside groove. He is going to be followed through by Dave Trudeau with the number 97. They both decided that's the place to be on the speedway. Looks like with the weather conditions and the track conditions, both groups seem to be very, very strong. There are 2, sometimes 3 groups available to drivers here at the Speedbowl. If you'll notice, turns 1 and 2 are a little bit tighter than 3 and 4, and this is where a lot of the action will take place, is in 3 and 4 as far as passing.
Now trying to make some action is Glenn Colvin in car number 39, and right behind him, Brandon Plemons. He has it lined up on the outside groove, and look at 67 trying to come to the front.
Well, that's something he's done very, very well this season. As we said before, 7 feature wins, but the proof in the pudding is the consistency. 18 top 5s and 20 top 10s and 23 starts. You can't get more consistent than that.
And consistency has been the name of the game so far for Bill Leonard as he has breezed to a convincing lead. Plenty of action deep in the pack as Plemons has gone underneath Tim Jordan. And now he sets his sight on the 39 of Glenn Colvin, and also strong in the early going, Danny Field in car number 18.
Jeff Miller brings the number 54 into the pit area. Obviously some mechanical problems for that car builder, one of the most renowned car builders in the mini stock division, and his own car having some problems, so we're going to have to check that out and see what Jeff can do. Getting back to the action on the racetrack, 3 drivers have separated themselves from the rest of the pack. They are Bill Leonard, the number 53 of Dan Darnstead, and Dave Trudeau.
And a pack of 3 right behind them. The leader of the parade is Colvin, followed by Plemons, Stu Savardi, now 6th. And right behind him, the wild man, Danny Field, trying to work his way up through the field.
Danny Field has been another driver as of late that has been very, very strong. And the latter going back at a feature win just a couple weeks ago. And looking to make that another win where it really pays off, and he's trying to head towards the front, but he's got quite a few cars to overcome out there. One of those is Stu Savardi, who he's racing next to right now, a very fast, well-prepared car.
So the big lead by Bill Leonard has evaporated. Here comes Dan Darmstadt. He has got it gunned in on the bottom of the track, and we have a new leader, car number 53 for Darmstadt.
Laps ticking by now. Next time by, 37 laps left to go in our Matco Mini Stock Madness race with a brand new leader, Dan Darmstadt. Dan is currently 2nd in the point standings, and a hard-fought year, and just showing his muscle out here this afternoon.
He has had an outstanding year, and Dave Trudeau, he has a handful of wins in that car number 97. He takes off on the outside, doesn't have enough pizzazz to make it stick, so he aims his car on the bottom of Darmstadt.
So moving all over the track, giving you an idea of the track conditions out here and how good they are at this point in the competition this afternoon. Side-by-side racing, a drag race between Trudeau and Darmstadt. Bill Leonard on the outside looking in for the moment. And Brandon Plemons breaking away from that pack that you were talking about a few moments ago, trying to assert himself the 2002 point champion.
Well, the leaders were clanging together like 2 cymbals. Darmstadt makes contact to the rear of Trudeau's car, but that doesn't impede him in the least. And Dave Trudeau with Papakota getting into the dirt in the backstretch.
Yeah, he and Phil Evans Sr. in the 29 got together. We also have some cars getting together out there in turn number 2. Tim Jordan, and of course that driver out of Chester, Connecticut, Chris Burton, getting together out there. That's right. Of course, Kyle Ricky will be coming back in here to grab the microphone about halfway through this event as Matt Buckler will prepare to go down trackside to congratulate the winner. Coming back to the restart line, Dave Trudeau and Dan Darmstadt are side by side as they make their way past the start-finish line. Looks like Trudeau with the advantage for the moment. Brandon Plemons in the 67 currently running 3rd. Right behind him, a pair of red automobiles are side by side battling it out. That's Danny Field and, of course, Bill Leonard behind our 3 leaders.
And we're about to find out why they call Danny Field the Wild Man, as he has that car rifling down the backstretch, and he just nudges Leonard by centimeters as they roar into turn 4.
You know, we looked at Rich Brooks earlier in the contest. He had an unfortunate incident out here in the front straightaway. Well, I'll tell you what, he went back to the pits, and whatever he did it right, because he's on his way up through the field very, very quickly. He's currently running right next to Joe Godbout at number 37, so keep your eye on the 65 as Bill Leonard gets out of shape.
But he is able to keep the car under control. We stay under grade, and a great 3-wide extravaganza for the top spot. Trudeau is leading, but he has plenty of company behind him.
Dan Darmstadt to the inside groove. Brandon Plemons running on that outside groove, trying to gain ground. It's going to be side-by-side racing with he and Darmstadt. Very appropriate since they are 1 and 2 in the points. Dave Trudeau also up there at the top of the point standings as well. So if you want to talk about numbers really playing into a scenario, our top 3 guys in points are top 3 guys on the speedway.
So it's like the program come to life. As Trudeau trying to hold off 2 tough competitors. Good battle now, shaping up for 5th. Phil Evans has the spot, but hanging on like a piece of duct tape. In 6th is the 39 of Colvin, and also moving to the front, 2 tough competitors, Sean Manning and Brad Caddick.
Glenn Colvin won our 3rd heat yesterday. He's another one of those guys that brings a lot of mechanical expertise to the race car. In fact, he builds racing engines not only for race cars, but for boats and dragsters. So he knows how to put horsepower underneath the hood. Now it's just a case of dialing in the car, a late addition to our mini stock roster in 2002, and he's been doing very, very well each and every week.
Dave Sylvia finds himself in the top 10 in car number 88. And now Dave Trudeau has done something that is very difficult. He's been holding off Brandon Plemons for lap after lap.
Now in the 10th spot is Rich Brooks. So we were talking about Rich coming from the back towards the front. He is currently running 10th, reeling him in out there in the 65, making the move on Dave Sylvia in the 88. Comes to the inside of the track. He's going to pick up a spot this time around.
Boy, that car stuck going off in turn 4. A great maneuver by Brooks. Now Brad Caddick goes to work. He is on the bottom of the Colvin car, and Caddick picks up a spot.
Well, Brad Caddick, no stranger to the winner's circle in 2002 as well. One of those great drivers out of the ocean state of Rhode Island, and he is out there leading that second group of automobiles. Phil Evans has done a great job in the 81, coming up into competition with the front runners. He is currently running 5th in the field all by himself, trying to reel in Danny Field.
And he is slowly gobbling away at that lead. Here comes Brandon Plemons making a bold, impressive move on the bottom. Those 2 cars even into turn 3, but they're not when they get to turn 4. Plemons takes over the top spot.
2002 track champion in the mini stock division. He has written on the top of his car, and rightfully so, as he was our points leader. And right now he is asserting himself, showing us the power that brought him the championship as he is in the front of the field. This time by 21 laps will be showing on the Budweiser Bud Light scoreboard.
A lot of frantic activity taking place in mid-pack as some Chivardi's come back to life. In car number 93, Wade Burrows. Remember, he had an early problem, but he has been able to weave his way through traffic.
Trudeau trying to work the back bumper of Brandon Plemons as they make their way into turn number 1. Dan Darmstadt has come back to the 3rd spot as he continues his battle as going sideways down here on the front straightaway. Well, indeed, Phil Evans Sr. in the 29, once again getting a feel of what's going on out there on the track in that car, but it's going to put him at the back of the pack, put him in danger of being put down a lap as Brandon Plemons with a full head of steam coming down into turns number 3 and 4.
So it is Plemons, the drum major of the parade, with Trudeau still in striking distance in 2nd. A lot of daylight between Trudeau and Dan Darmstadt running 3rd, and Danny Field, Phil Evans rounding out the top 5. And look at Brad Caddick. Remember, he started 22nd, so he has come from oblivion into a battle for 6th place.
So he's coming out of nowhere. We're seeing some smoke coming out of the back of Phil Evans' automobile. He's going to get the black flag. He is going to get an exit from this competition as time ticking down, 17 laps to go in this one, shown on the Budweiser Bud Light scoreboard as they make their way around the speedway. Competition fast and furious. As you can see, Brad Caddick having quite a run here this afternoon, but he has a long way to go, a lot of real estate to catch our leader, Brandon Plemons. Plemons leading Dave Trudeau, Dan Darmstadt third. The fourth spot held down by Danny Field. In fifth, Phil Evans smoking his way around the track. And a great battle going on as Brad Caddick and Richard Brooks are about to do battle. Richard Brooks, the story here this afternoon, going out early, going into the pits, getting the car redialed in, and then coming back towards the front.
Into the second pack of traffic as another lap goes up on the scoreboard. 14 laps to go in our Matco Mini Madness feature event. And the race lead continues to be held by Brandon Plemons with Dave Trudeau in the second spot. They're in turn number 3. In the third position, it's the 53 of Dan Darmstadt. Caution out. The yellow flag waving from the starter stand, maybe for the 29. Bring out the caution flag one more time, and the 81 to go around over in turn number 4. So a single car incident. Gonna go green off of turn number 4. Not a lot of attrition in this race thus far as Soup Savardi pulls into the infield. We go under the green flag, and Brandon Plemons gets the jump into turn number 2. Dave Trudeau into the second spot, stacked up to the outside lane. Double wide for third as well between Dan Darmstadt and the 18. Falls back into line, does Danny Field, but not in the front of the field. Still double wide to the stripe. Here comes Darmstadt to the inside of Trudeau for the second spot. Top 3 beginning to break away from the rest of the field. In that 4th spot, it's Danny Field. Sean Manning to round out the top 5. Here comes Richard Brooks back into the top half of the field after going around on the race's opening lap. That car has climbed back up through the field, looks to the inside of Sean Manning for the 5th position back into turn 1.
12 laps showing on the scoreboard right now. Brandon Plemons is forged the lead out in front of the rest of the field, but very, very short lead as we have cars out in the dust once again going around. Dan Darmstadt making the charge towards the front of the field. Dave Trudeau still holding on in his position towards the front of the field as Glenn Coleman joins Soup Savardi in the infield.
Bill Leonard, the other driver involved in the incident in turn number 2 a moment ago, will stay under the green flag, and the battle is on for second. Off of turn number 4, and it's a good one between Dan Darmstadt and the 53 and the 97 of Dave Trudeau. All that happening about a car length and a half behind the race leader of Brandon Plemons to the back straightaway. Top 5 cars now have broken away from the front of the field. And in that 5th spot is Richard Brooks, who was involved in a lap 1 incident right here at the start-finish line. Managed to climb back up through the field and in contention for a win here this afternoon.
He definitely has a fast car out there in the speedway. If you were keeping track, he has probably covered more positions than anybody else on the track this afternoon as far as gaining positions from where he was. And he's coming up towards the front of the field, a challenge, but it's going to have to be something happening very, very quickly, Kyle. Only 8 laps left to go.
Time running out for the mini stock competitors. 7.5 laps to run, 7 at the line for race leader, the 67 and champion this season for Brandon Plemons. Gonna put a capper on his 2002 championship, possibly with a win in the division's premier event for the 2002 season for Brandon Plemons. Dan Darmstadt in that second spot, double wide for third as the caution is out for an incident on the back straightaway. Car number 32 involved for Jay LaPlante, as were 2 other drivers that were able to pull away. And now 2 cars remain idle over in turn number 2. Both have fires, and Darmstadt now make up the front row with Danny Field in that 3rd spot. Dave Trudeau to the outside of row number 2. Richard Brooks in the 5th spot. Car number 65 clung his way back up through the field. Still has a little bit of time left. 7 laps to go. And we're back underway. The outside lane does not come up to speed. Dan Darmstadt a little slow on the brake. It will be Brandon Plemons into turn number 2. Danny Field will take over the 2nd spot. Brooks is in a battle for 3rd. Side by side with Darmstadt down into turn 3.
Rich Brooks on the inside, just about as low as you can go on the speedway, trying to pick up positions that way. And he is currently running 4th, but he's going to have a battle, a side-by-side battle with Dan Darmstadt out there to pick up another position as they are winding down in this one. Next time by, only 5 laps left to go in the charge for $1,000.
Handful of laps to go for Brandon Plemons. He leads back to turn number 1, now by 3 car lengths over Danny Field. Still side by side for third. Richard Brooks gets the spot on the back straightaway. Dan Darmstadt back to the 4th. Now they're side by side for 5th with Trudeau to the outside lane. Down low, it's Caddick off the corner.
You think $1,000 can help a racing program? You bet it can, and that's why these drivers are headed towards the front of the field, battling to try to go. 3 wide coming down the back straightaway out there. As you see the number 28, the number 53 of Darmstadt getting a little bit sideways in turn number 4.
Dan Darmstadt will hang on to it though after contact with the 28 for Steve Johnson. Johnson and Darmstadt okay, just outside of the top 5, still side by side for the 6th position. Down into turn number 3, it is all Brandon Plemons back in the front of the field. All by himself by 8 car lengths down to the stripe. Battle is on for second between Richard Brooks in the 65 and Danny Field in the 18.
That is definitely the battle on the speedway right now for the 2nd spot on the track. Dave Trudeau breaking away from Brad Caddick for the moment in the number 97, running all by himself out there in the 4th spot on the speedway. 1 lap left to go, bring him home, Kyle.
Down into turn number 1 for the final time in 2002 for the mini stocks. Brandon Plemons leads. Down the back straightaway, Brooks advances to the 2nd spot. Danny Field and Trudeau run side by side for 3rd and 4th off of turn number 4. Give the win. And the final checkered flag of the year for the mini stocks to Brandon Plemons. The 2002 champion goes out in style for the season here at the Waterford Speedbowl. So it'll be the number 67 in for the win here this afternoon. Brandon Plemons, that's why he's the 2002 champion here at Waterford. Richard Brooks come back to the race after being involved in a lap 1 incident, made his way up to the runner-up position in the closing laps, getting around Danny Field.
John, Serpro, thanks. Matco Tools, awesome job. Thanks for the sponsorship. Tom for Tire, my wife, especially all my crew, my dad, he's over there all the time working on the car. My son, he's here hanging tough. He don't feel good.
How much of an incentive was that?
The money was important. I tell you, there's a lot of people here that I got to thank very much. I got a good crew. They really worked a lot this year. They probably need them, but I got all my sponsors. Fast Al, he's been part of me for years, and I hope he goes with me to the late model. Big Smitty painted the car, Groton Motor in, and all my fans, her family, everybody's been helpful. Burnett's Machine Shop for giving me awesome power. Let's see if he could do that next year with the.
Okay, now we're going to bring in Randy Dickerson here at Matco to make a very special presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, we watched a really, really good feature race here. A lot of real good racing between all these guys. I'd like everybody to give Brandon Plemons a huge hand. Brandon, you are the 2002 winner of the Matco Mini Madness.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Randy. And let's go back upstairs to Mark, but
This is fun for us. You got to really appreciate a guy like that. It's coming out of his own pocket, so thank you from all of us.